Welcome back to the Cyber Risk TV live stream from the expo floor at InfoSec World 2024. We're excited to be here celebrating the 30th anniversary of InfoSec World. I'm your host, Mandy Logan, and today I'm joined by Neko P, who is the Senior Product Marketing Manager at Minlo Security. And today we get to talk about securing the most widely used, yet most attacked enterprise app today, the browser.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
As I was telling you, I actually am personally extremely fascinated by being able to secure browsers. And can you speak real quickly on why do you say that it is the most widely used and most attacked app in the enterprise system?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. You look at, just over the last decade even, browsers have become the single point of entry for everything we do in our business today, right? Accessing, everything across the internet, all of our internal applications, our external applications, everything we do starts within the browser. And so, it's become extremely important to understand, what type of technology we have in place, and is it not just do we have a layered approach to security in the browser, but do we have the right level of security in the browser to be able to protect against things that we see coming in day over day in terms of these more sophisticated threats?
Oh my goodness, when you think about talking have the right level of security,
Yeah.
that seems almost incomprehensible to be able to determine instantaneously, especially because so many browser attacks are not visible. You don't even know that that is out there as a possibility.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how does a secure browser differ from the other enterprise browsers that are out there?
Yeah, you look at the last couple years with the rise of a lot of these different enterprise browsers or so-called replacement browsers coming into the mix today. A lot of these, users have come to realize that browsers for the longest time they've been free, they've been easy to use. People don't want to navigate away from the browsers they love, right? We all use Chrome, we all use Edge, and so we don't want to introduce yet another browser that from an IT perspective, it becomes very difficult to manage. A lot of times it becomes overly complex. And on top of that, it introduces another layer of risk that we have to, ensure we're protected against, right? And from a user perspective, if they're not happy with the browser, they're going to find workarounds. They're going to find ways to. They're not going to wait for a ticket to be resolved and then go back to work. They don't have time to do that, so they're going to just find ways to get around that or go outside the browser entirely, go back to one of the browsers they're familiar with, and probably never go back to that enterprise browser again. So secure enterprise browsers, what they do is they do just that. They are protecting the existing browsers that we all come to love and use today, right? Rather than trying to force users through this new browser, we're securing the existing browsers of today, essentially making it a local managed endpoint with this digital twin up in the cloud. And by doing that, we can open everything first in the secure cloud browser and eliminate any potential risk of threats actually coming down to the endpoint. So it's a really cool concept in terms of how do we secure all of our hybrid workforce and ensure that they're not getting these threats coming down to the endpoint. And by doing that, we can control everything from this single enforcement point. So
Oh, so if I'm understanding you correctly, then whatever site is being accessed by a user actually goes into a secure cloud environment. And then it goes down to the individual?
yeah. So and that's one of the best ways we can protect against things like you see every week today, in 2024 and beyond, we're seeing more ransomware, more phishing, right, coming down, impacting users. And so what we're doing is we're basically fetching and executing all that content away from the endpoint, and it's basically everything is mirrored and first opened inside of that secure cloud browser. And then from that point, everything, only the clean, sanitized versions are actually passed down to the endpoint. And that's what really allows us to separate that and be able to block these evasive threats that we're seeing today.
That sounds fantastic. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it really is.
yeah.
I'm curious then, is there any latency that comes up because of that process?
No. So the best part about that is because the way the solution is deployed, equally as important is the security, the control perspective from an IT side. The end user experience is probably just as important, if not more important, to the end user. Right? I mentioned earlier, if there's going to be latency introduced or hiccups along the way, users aren't going to spend time trying to figure out how to fix this or how to move on beyond this. They're going to figure out an alternative solution to use. So with Menlo's secure enterprise browser solution, everything is passed through this cloud browser, and we introduce zero latency. A lot of people will use uh, bolt-on isolation technologies, things like that, but the biggest difference is we're doing everything in the cloud, so we have really zero impact to the end user, and we're able to scale this seamlessly across the entire enterprise. It's not just an exception anymore. It needs to be the rule to be able to secure your entire hybrid workforce.
I can get on board with that idea.
Yeah,
I concur.
cool. I concur.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
Um, so, will you speak more then on, and with having that cloud browser going through everything, the traffic that is going
Sure.
to the user, can you speak more on how that impacts 0-hour phishing attacks?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, if you look at how browser security is addressed today, a lot of people are still trying to add layers of browser security from that network and that endpoint, level, right? But it's not really providing true browser security. There's still limitations in the sense of not having full visibility inside the browser, because we do things differently, because we execute all this information inside of the cloud. We have complete visibility. So every click, every web page that's opened, every time a JavaScript is running, we have access to all this different information, and and by doing that, we can start to apply like AI, machine learning engines that allow us to be able to identify and look for user behavior, or identify potential threats that are looking to target users through the browser. I mean, attackers know what's going on today. They realize a lot of the people, we're still reliant on these network level, endpoint level detection capabilities. And so what attackers are doing today is they're leveraging what we call heat attacks, highly evasive and adaptive threats. But these attacks are specifically designed to employ, a variety of different techniques that are going to essentially designed to bypass these different layers of security controls.
Right.
And so they're leveraging those to bypass these cloud network services that we don't really have the ability to effectively protect against. So the secure cloud browser can bring all this together. It provides full visibility, so then we can apply the right level of detection in the cloud for the users. So
Well, that makes me think a lot about being able to nearly instantaneously handle even browser and browser attacks.
yeah.
Is Can you speak on that at all?
Yeah. So, one of the cool things we've really tried to incorporate into a lot of our technology is things like AI, right? AI is consistently being used more and more by enterprises worldwide. A lot of the reason because it's, we're able to be more productive. We're sitting on our browsers, more than 75% of the day, but leveraging AI in our own daily tasks allows us to be more productive. It allows IT teams to, improve their operational efficiency, but a lot really haven't embraced it from a cybersecurity perspective. Well, at Menlo, we've really tried to integrate, the concept of AI and machine learning into a lot of our technology and our capabilities. And so by doing that, we can when we're running these pages in the cloud browser, and because we have the full capability of getting visibility to these pages, we can run these different elements, these AI elements against those, and look at, the individual URL, things like, what the web page is actually asking the user to do. Are there certain input fields? We can cross-reference different brands along those web pages to look for any type of brand impersonation. But because we're able to run these AI capabilities inside of those pages, we can look at all these things at once and make a real-time determination of what the actual page is asking the user to do, how the user is engaging with the page, and it's very effective in preventing things like zero-hour phishing or evasive ransomware,
Right.
and web exploits.
So, do you have any anecdotes about how that has reduced stress on security teams?
100%. And I encourage you, I'll point you to our website, menlosecurity.com. We have a number of different case studies where it talks about just that, right? I mean, again, back to our first question, the biggest thing is from an IT perspective, it's about how do we improve our operational efficiency, reduce or shrink this existing risk gap from the browser. And then on the flip side, though, from our user perspective, they just want to know they can click without worry, right? They want to
Right.
be able to not have to worry about if they clicked on the wrong link, if they accidentally served up their credentials, if they accidentally downloaded something malicious. So that's really where we're trying to address both sides of it, and we can do just that by securing the existing browsers with Menlo Secure Enterprise Browser. So,
And real quickly, I do want to mention there are certain things that, like the free demos
yeah,
and other information
yeah,
available, again,
yeah,
mineralsecurity.com,
yeah,
not just for preventing those attacks, but also if something does happen in the event of needing to reconstruct an incident.
yeah,
Uh, I know many times it's that an incident response team is kind of having to go off of what an individual employee remembers about what
yeah,
instigated or what part they saw
sure,
or may have known.
yeah,
And that could be days or months
yeah,
after the actual event.
yeah.
So with being able to have the forensics and data available through Menlo Security's solution, what have you seen or do you know that helps the incident response teams being able to identify fully and something that did happen?
Yeah, we've got one of our latest products, Browsing Forensics, allows us to capture the user sessions within the browser to be able to kind of trace back what's actually happening, especially in the event of like something like credential phishing. Did the user actually input their credentials into one of these pages? We have the ability to capture these events and follow exactly what happened along that chain to identify and go back to look at what was the actual recording, what happened there, and we can better prevent this in the future from happening. But that coupled with the ability to be able to provide real-time threat prevention, we don't want to be able to have to always just go back and figure out what happened, where it happened, and why. We want to be able to prevent that in the first place. And so that's really what Menlo Security is about. It's not just providing a quicker solution to be able to detect and to respond. It's really about how do we prevent these threats altogether from ever making it down and impacting the user or the endpoint. Because once it's already on the endpoint, it's already there.
Right.
Something, the user's already lost their credentials, the attackers may have already gained access to our data, and it's just a matter of time before something else happens or they use that for nefarious activities, right? So it's really about being able to provide threat prevention inside the browser away from the endpoint, and we do have capabilities that allow us to make sure our single enforcement policies are all of our unified decisions are ran against provided benchmarks across the industry, making sure our users have the latest updated versions of what they need or the latest controls in place at all times across their hybrid workforce. And then browsing forensics helps us basically just, if in the event we do need to go back and look at those, we have full browser session recordings that we can track the entire event of what happened with the user. So
Well, and as someone who really enjoys analytics and data and
yeah,
having the satisfaction of, oh, here it is, we can pinpoint this exactly, and now we can make it an effective
yeah,
uh, change instantaneously, or we have it, like that feeling of security within the security team is such a robust way to move the entire security team forward
yeah,
and to continue to help all of the enterprise have an ability to branch out into what they need to be doing,
yeah,
not focusing
yeah,
on just the nitty gritty of trying to have somebody. It's kind of like going to a police sketch artist and being like, yeah, I need you to sketch out this person based
yeah,
on 4 data points, or as opposed you're giving the forensics
yeah,
and have, I don't know, thousands,
yeah,
millions of
yeah.
data points if needed.
Well, like you said, it's the best of both worlds. The IT teams are maniacally focused on providing the right level of threat prevention for their enterprise, while simultaneously trying to figure out how do we ensure this seamless experience, making security completely invisible to the end user. And that's where we've been focused on, and that's where we've been delivering security for the last 10 years. So
Oh my goodness, Nico, thank you so much for this.
yeah,
And for all of our listeners joining our live stream, please make sure to check out securityweekly.com/Menlo Security. Again, live from InfoSec World 2024, I am Mandy Logan, and we will see you again soon.
thank you.